Johnny, thanks for joining us. We are now coming up to 5 weeks into pre-season. We're going to look back on where we've gone so far, how we think the boys have done, and what we're looking at for the next few weeks. But first, can't fail to notice that you've got a rather drastic change of appearance there. You were part of Brave the Shave recently with the squad. Talk us through why you were involved in that.
Quite. So obviously, it's a bit of an extreme haircut that I'm not used to. But the boys got behind the Brave the Shave campaign, which is a sort of a cancer fundraising incentive there. And I've had some recent family losses due to cancer, so I thought it would be right for me to join that. So took the plunge, and a little bit shorter than we had planned, but here it is.
A couple of young boys at home, were they a little bit startled when Dad got home and had a new look?
Yeah, there was a moment of confusion when I came through. They weren't quite sure who I was, but I think they've got used to it now, so that's good.
And focusing on the job, as you say, we're at the end of 4 weeks of pre-season training. What's your considered verdict on how it's gone so far?
I guess the short thing is I think we're tracking all right. Last year's season obviously didn't end as well as we wanted, albeit with probably some positives throughout the season. But the wash-up meant we were in a little bit earlier than we were last year. So we've been going this is coming to the end of the fourth week. But the boys returned in good condition in comparison to this time last year. Better condition, which is what we always want, sort of a year-on-year improvement. So at this stage we're fairly happy with how we're going.
And as you said, it's a long pre-season. For us, it's a long period. What type of things have you been looking at? Everybody talks about pre-season being a time that players traditionally run off their feet, but it's not necessarily about that these days. Even while there is an element of hard work in there, what type of things have you been doing to test them, keep them engaged, what you're looking for from them?
Yeah, well, I think the first point you make about a long pre-season, it's also a long season. So we're sort of always trying to manage both those things. The pre-season, I think, regardless of where you go, is an important opportunity to lay a base because, like we said, they're a long time playing, and the reality is we can't always be trying to make gains in areas that we would like. So it's important for us to identify early on the players that need this and other players that need different things. So that's the first thing. There's some fundamentals that don't change, getting them strong, trying to build the endurance base, trying to get rid of any excess body fat that we don't think they need. So that's a given. But then I guess the flip side of that is we're a rugby side as well, and certainly on review, I think last year there's some areas that we can improve on from a wider sort of a holistic approach, if you want to throw a word in there. To make them better rugby players. So we've integrated earlier probably with the coaches than we would have before, the rugby coaches, trying to get creative with how we involve skill work and some other sort of non-specific transferable skills, which has been good. I think it's added a change to the environment, which from a player's perspective, anything different is always going to be probably more exciting. So yeah, we're playing with some ideas, and I think so far things seem to be reasonably positive.
We talk about integration with rugby coaches. As S&C, you and your department, your team, how much autonomy do you have to go out there and set what the guys need to do, and how much of it is talking with Steve and his fellow rugby coaches and actually planning to deliver players who can do what they want to do in the game plan?
Yeah, well, I think that, again, there's some non-negotiables regardless of where you come from the needs that you have to play rugby. So keeping it simple, if we can make the players physically more capable, they're going to be able to deliver what the coaches are asking. But I think, again, there needs to be an interaction there to make sure that we're aligned with what they're looking to do, whether it be a game plan or a strategy that they're looking to try and alter in the way that we play. They give us a lot of autonomy there to be creative in how we bridge that gap, if you like. And we certainly, as a team, as an S&C team, work closely with the skill coaches around what we're doing, be it in the gym or on the pitch, to try and have some, like I said, alignment between what we're doing and what they're doing.
We've had a glimpse on Ospreys TV of some of the stuff that you do in the early weeks of pre-season, but as we move now into the second month and then even the third month when rugby starts coming in, how do you differentiate the phases? What do you see changing and what's happening day to day?
Well, at a simple level, our pre-season's been broken into 2 phases. So we've got the block 1, which is a 5-week phase we're coming toward the end of. We give the players that have been training from day one a lighter week or an offload week, and then we come back in for a second block of 5 weeks, which takes us up to the start of the season. So that made it quite nice. We're able to focus on some core things in this block. Again, from an S&C perspective, it's been our base fundamentals with, like I said, the integration with the rugby side. The second block, we start ramping up, certainly with the contact side of things, getting into warm-up games. We've also got a camp, which we haven't had for a while here, I think, in Belgium, which will be an opportunity to get the players out of the environment here, which is good. I think you can get a chance to assess them out of their home zone or some of them, the way that they live outside of here with parents or family. We get a chance to try some things there as well. So that's our program at the moment, but the phase we're in at the moment is, as I said, still largely about getting the base work into them and starting to integrate now more of the contact work as the games get closer.
And the clear elephant in the room that we haven't touched on yet is under-20s boys, senior internationals, boys whose season was running right until the end of June. How do you work with them? When they report back for duty, have they got a different program? How do you work them back in so they start to integrate again? What is the plan? What is the project?
Yeah, well, you're right. We get the first wave, if you like, of returning players coming back in our first week of that second block, so in about 2 weeks' time, and then it's a staggered integration from then on in. The approach we have taken and always take is to assess each individual in terms of their recent programs, so those that have had a pretty high game load, be it with the World Cup, the under-20s or the New Zealand tour with the senior players, versus some that maybe didn't play as much. Also, we look at what their physical needs are. There's those that, like I said, have been hanging on by a thread for a long time, will need a longer pre-season and a longer break just to help build them back up again. Whereas others, again, because of those reasons I've just said, we may be able to put back into games a bit earlier. So it's a balancing act. There's no black or white on it. I think it's a case of trying to just be carefully assessing each individual on their needs and working with the coaches here to give our recommendations. But ultimately, it's we've got not a deep squad, so those players coming back are going to be needed at some stage, and I know the coaches would probably want them earlier than later. But we've also got an eye to the weeks and months to come, which is going to be another tough and long season.
And finally, without wanting to put you on the spot and without actually just saying anything I'm going to hold you to at the end of the season, you look at the squad as they are today and where you hope to take them over the coming weeks and months. How would you rate where we are and where we're going to be going with this group of players?
Well, I think going back to the first point you made around the season we had last year and maybe looking at some positives to take out of that, I think our depth was certainly tested in battling on a European elite level as well as the league, which is our bread and butter. We had some moments where we put ourselves right in the mix, but ultimately fell away, particularly in the league. The positive out of that is we had a lot of young players get exposed to rugby at a high level, which I think having a large number of internationals that get taken away at various stages is important for a club like ours. So I'd like to think that we're going to see some reward from that this coming year. And again, it's like anyone, we're trying to build depth and strength in numbers, so that when we do lose players, be it injury or other team call-ups, we can perform at a consistent level. And I think that's our challenge going forward, to be a bit more consistent in our performances. And in a long season that you have in the Northern Hemisphere, that's probably the key to success. You're not going to win competitions in the first few weeks, but we had two polar opposite starts for last year and the year before, where we did perform well at the start of last year and we had a great run the year before. So setting ourselves up a bit greater depth, still continuing to play a brand, I think, of rugby that's as exciting and certainly that our players want to enjoy is a challenge for us. But I think we're on a right path, and time will tell. So probably sat on the fence there, but